All right, we're going to go through some Mindsparks. I cannot get this video recording thing to work right where I can't turn off the sound for the YouTube stuff we look at, so we're going to have to deal with that, kind of take it as it goes. We're going back, where's my notes here? All the way down again. We got January 31st, 2018. Wrist grab deflection to reverse Kimura grip. And as a little note, I should try to start this off with an arm drag. I did a video for myself here. I guess I will have to turn this up to see it well. Here we go. My hand is grabbed. I come in. I re-grab the hand that's bit me, break it off, come around behind the elbow, drive it in, push-pull, and then weave back through for the reverse Kimura grip. So this looks really simple, really subtle, but it opens a huge can of worms that I've been trying to look at in regards to... Whoa, what happened? Did I lose it? In regards, let's flip back here, to what is like a fundamental way to always grab the arms that always leads to positive outcomes. And we're looking at all that from a combative perspective that obviously has a lot of importance when it comes to law enforcement and my focus on law enforcement. So like, how do we grab the arm? What are the fundamental ways to grab the arm? There's obviously going to be different ways there to do that are more efficient depending on how you're, like the angle you're approaching. So how are those categories broken up? Like so far the best kind of breaking up of the categories I've seen is can I be behind the shoulder, kind of behind the shoulder and behind the elbow? Or if I'm not behind the shoulder and behind the elbow, I'm in front of it. And then there's also kind of coming from, think north-south, like bottom positions of like north-south, where I'm kind of neither. I'm on both sides of the shoulder. And those would be kind of the three categories, and we're going to have different ways to approach the arm depending on where we're at on that spectrum. I think there's another one too that's actually on the inside of the shoulder. You're controlling it on the back and the front side, but from the inside. So what that would mean is, like, think about monoplatas, like a monoplata type isolation of the shoulder from mounts or something like that. But anyway, it opens a big can of worms about all that. I can't go down that road in a video like this. That's going to take a lot of like time and several videos. This one was taken from the perspective of, I believe, and this is all the way back in 2018, I've been thinking about this, from the front, directly, like I'm in front of their elbows, I'm in front of their shoulder. If I'm reaching out and grabbing a person, I always want to do it at kind of a Greco style, where I'm grabbing the wrist of the arm on the same side, and then I'm driving it downwards and rolling it inwards so that it's kind of leading me to, here, I'm going to have to show this real quick.
They have an opposing hook. I'm going to hook on my opponent's armpit. You're going to rev the motorcycle here. Shopping cart tie, double inside tie, multiple things. We'll just call it a double inside tie, okay? So we're double inside tie here, front, head to head. Moving his feet, same thing on the other side. Hands up so they're not double inside. The same move, double inside tie isn't the same move here. So left to set up eyes that you want area to set up offense.
So this is all just working. This is all just working from ties. Ties is not what we're talking about here. Ties are a dynamic, like colliding, a way to close space and collide with a person and direct them to the grips you want to get. So the grips we're talking about here are not that combative yet. It's not that much resistance yet. You're just walking up. You have to put hands on a person because you're going to arrest them or something of that nature. You have to put hands on them. You've reached the point where you're going to touch them, and you have to have a good way to secure their hands. That's not combative, right? It's a different aesthetic. So it's a grab. It's grabbing their arm with your hands. That's an ineffective connection, right? When we just grab something with our hands, that's not actually a really good combative connection. But how do we grab an arm in a way that leads us to easily slapping on an effective form of control? Like an underhook or a body lock, it needs to lead to those things. So that's what all this is about, is, grabbing, a way to grab the arm that leads to really strong connections. And I know for sure the first one to do, the one that works, is the one I was describing. I just can't find a freaking example of it. It's driving me crazy. Obviously, these guys are already a little bit engaged. But this is a good example of what I'm talking about. I want you to watch the way J-Rod will go out and he will address this hand in front of him, right? Address this arm that's in front of him. He'll come out, he grabs it, same side grip, get a hold of it, as close to the wrist as you can. Fingers are sometimes better, but whatever, in that general area. And then the pressure you're going to create is you return your elbow down while you roll inward, roll the arm inward. So here you see him try it once, pushes it down, and you get this end result. But that was the grip we're talking about. So why that's important, and I think the most efficient way to address that, is because of the effect it has on clearing the frame out of your way, but also the motion and the rolling of the arm brings that shoulder forward, and then it flares the elbow and creates this space in here. It creates the open elbow that we need in order to enter into more dominant grips. So that from the front, that motion is the key motion or the most efficient motion, and what we want to kind of train and always do as a first approach, first way to grab an arm or touch it. But that's when we're in front, that's when we're not behind the shoulders and the elbows. We would ideally always want to start behind the shoulders and the elbows, but when we're not, that seems the most efficient way to do that. Again, we're not talking about like in a combative situation where the guy's combative. We're just talking about from the situation of, I know I'm pretty much going to have to go hands-on with this guy. It hasn't escalated there yet. How do I make that first contact? I'm still in that assessment kind of mindset where when I do touch him and I do feel, I'm reading for his reactions. I'm reading to see if they really are going to resist or not, and I'm being defensive. So I'm coming in from this defensive standing, my hands are up, I'm grabbing that side and I'm rolling it in so that I can take more dominant grips if I have to, or disengage if I have to. So this idea I had is, okay, well, if that's the way we're going to think about someone grabbing, and I'm coming in and I'm going to be addressing people this way, what if they grab me first? What if they grab over here first? It's a concept for what is the most efficient way to break that grab and go immediately into a dominant grip. This idea that we have, the one that we're looking at in this Mindspark, is more for like a multiple deputy response, because the reality is if the guy grabs my hand, I'm not going to go into just controlling his hand unless there's something in that hand that I'm deeply concerned with and need to address just it. I'm going to go to controlling him. So at that point, I'd be breaking the grips and then moving into more dominant grips closer to his body and where I can control his body more. But there is a lot of value to understanding moving into a dominant grip where I just control that hand, in a multiple deputy response. When you think about that, there are definitely times where you'll have to just, or want to just control that arm while they're working on the other arm, or while they're working on the legs, and so on and so forth. And if you have a good way that connects you to just that arm, that rolls you into much more dominant grips, that's a way to train that's best, and it's a good way to break down and think about, different categories of escalation. But this move moves us into the reverse Kimura grip, and when it comes to controlling just a single arm by itself, the reverse Kimura grip is super awesome. And again, you'll see that where I like to have, when I'm building my curriculum, I want it to have where I show a grip that works in all the positions. That way I only have to really teach you that one grip and then have you master it, and then you can use it everywhere, right? So it's kind of a cheat way of getting ways to address people on the ground and ways to address people on the feet without having to show you a lot, and we can just get right into mastering the technique. Anyway, Kimura is really easy to find off of when they grab at your head. It's another reason it's really nice, and probably it's going to be part of the curriculum, is because that is a frequent, almost animalistic response in combat and combatives, is to have someone come after your head. So when they do come after your head, you'll have a built-in response to getting into a dominant grip. Let's see here. He just throws it off, and then you go straight into the grip. Now, before this is important too. There's kind of two stages to this. There's this part right here. You can see he's got a hand on top of the elbow, and then he's got this grip here, correct? This isn't what we want. We want to start from being behind the elbow, right? So our first grip, in this case, when we're coming off head control, we want to get behind the elbow and then come up and strip. And then we have this kind of push-pull effect with that mid-grip where we have control to transition to the more dominant reverse Kimura grip. Anyway, he comes behind, we'll move down, and he swings under. Alright, so yeah, this is the grip we're talking about. He's not applying it super great, but whatever. Looks good. He's going to take it into a stupid takedown, but that was the grip. That was the grip we're talking about. You come in behind, you get it, you swivel under it, and then you lock it into place. And you're stuck to that arm, you have good control of the hand at that point, and you can really control just that single arm by itself if you need to. And then, of course, move into more dominant grips from there if you need to control the person overall. So this here has a lot of just regular grappling application. But it's just opened the can of worms about the other whole thing. So we're going to take this here. We're going to say this could lead, by the way, this can lead into the reverse Kimura. And then more importantly, hold on. I'm going to put reverse Kimura grip or great white grip. That's a Kit Dale thing. It's basically a reverse Kimura grip, but just deeper. I'm sure you guys have seen, like, think about a regular Kimura, and then when you go deeper and you almost get that rear naked choke kind of grip on it, it's that same thing, but in reverse. Yeah, think about the reverse Kimura, and then you go even deeper and you get that rear naked choke type of grip on it. That's the great white grip. So it could be either of those. And then now I have this thing where I say I should try to start this off with an arm drag. Let me see if I can figure out what the heck I was thinking of there. Rotating motion coming in. Now I think I'm just pointing out how the motion of the arm drag has that same effect. To lead to the reverse Kimura in this case. So I don't know. I don't necessarily know what I meant by that. So I'm going to put a question mark on that. And then we're going to move this into done notes. We're going to move that into our folder for mat testing. So I got a little scatterbrain there for a minute because we got interrupted with another Mindspark while doing a Mindspark. But that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully when we train that that counter wrist deflection that leads to the reverse Kimura or the great wide grip, when we look at that on the mats, it should be pretty interesting because you can do that from guard, you can do that from any of your guards, you can do that from the ground, you can do that from a lot of places, even side control. I could see you finding ways to get into that grip and work it from there, right off of them grabbing your wrist, which obviously is a very likely thing for them to do. I'm curious to think how much effectiveness I could have against gi grips, like wrist gi grips type of thing, and how much that will affect it. I think it will greatly affect it. But yeah, that should be cool stuff to test on the mat. All right. Hope that was interesting. I'm sure it was discombobulated. Either way, Slenderman out.